Something that I genuinely used to believe about myself is that I just didn't have enough energy. I would look around me and see people who seemed to have a lot more energy than I did. And at the time, I was working 12-hour days, which in retrospect might be too much for anyone, but definitely too much for me. And once I discovered human design, that helped me realize that perhaps it also has a lot to do with the specific way that I work, that my design works, that my energy works. And it changed the way that I see myself. I was able to realize, oh, it's not that I'm broken or not good enough. It's just that a different way is better for me. And that's why today on this episode, I want to dive into human design, the different types, how to find out which one you are and what that means for your energy and how to work best with your design. If you've never heard of human design, this is a great starting point. If you already know what human design is, that's okay. There's always something to learn. And we are going to go in a little bit deep on each type. So there's something for everyone. I actually incorporate human design into my work. I think it's so important because each of us are different. We all have different types. It's part of the custom blueprint that I create for my clients. And there's a lot more that goes into that too. We go into personality types, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, all of it, astrology. But I really love incorporating human design, especially with coaching, because all of my work centers around alignment. Are we in and out of alignment with the way that we want our lives to look and feel? And a great way, a great tool to use to determine that is human design. Today, we are going to focus on the energy type, which I believe is the most foundational layer to human design. So we'll get into that in a second. But if you are feeling drained, if you feel like you're pushing and it's not paying off, or you're doing something the way that you think you should be, and it's actually just draining you instead of giving you energy, there is a reason for that. And that is what you'll find out in today's episode. Okay, so what is human design? This was developed in the 80s, the 1980s to be exact. And it synthesizes a lot of different methodologies. So it takes into consideration Western astrology, it takes into consideration the I Ching, the chakra system, and quantum physics. So a lot goes into this. And then it gives you a few different pieces. It's going to go through your type, which is how your energy works for you, your strategy, which is how you're designed to make moves, your authority, which is your inner decision-making system. And then it will go into profile, which is your archetypal role, your centers. So center is where you're either consistent or open. We'll explain that. And then gates and channels are specific themes that are wired just for you. Now, something to point out too is we live in a world of generators. Generators are the most common type in human design. And I truly believe that our society is developed around this type, but we are not all this type. Hint, I am not this type. And that's something that I realized. So as we go through the different types today, and please take a quiz. There's quizzes online that are free. You can find out what your human design is. I would actually go take that quiz before listening to this full episode if you don't already know what your human design is. But we live in a society designed for generators, which a generator is somebody that has like consistent energy. They can keep going. And if you think about, the corporate world, if you think about even educational institutions, I mean, anything, right? The idea is like go, 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 push, push, push. This is also especially prevalent if you live in America, like I do. But it's always more, 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 right? The more output, the more we get back. And that is not necessarily true for everyone. And it takes some unlearning, but it can be exciting too, right? There's a new way to do things. So there are 5 different energy types. I'm going to go through each one and describe them a little bit. So the first one we have is the Manifestor. Now this only makes up 9% of the population. It's not the rarest energy type, but I think it is the second rarest. And this type is designed to truly initiate. So if we're thinking of like manifesting, right? This type can just make something immediately happen. For their energy, they're non-sacral. So they actually typically have powerful bursts of energy And then it's followed by the need for rest. So they're really built for like impact, but not endurance. Their strategy is to inform before acting. So this type, like if you know a manifestor, they do not ask for permission. They just don't. So that might be something that you really appreciate or not. These are the people that can just think of an idea and get it done and put it into action. And somebody who's not a manifestor might have trouble understanding that. But that's why this type is meant for that type of work. Now, each type also has a not self theme. So there's a certain emotion that will show up when you're not being yourself. For a manifestor, that is anger. Okay. So if a manifestor is feeling angry often, that is a sign that they are not in alignment with their true self. So, and this is kind of specific, right? Because informing before acting means that you are informing someone of it, but you're not asking for permission. Okay. So it's not that they do things and they don't tell the people around them. They actually do. They tell them. They just don't ask them. So if a manifestor feels like they constantly have to ask for permission before acting, they're typically going to feel angry. And like a simple way of saying this is that they don't like being told what to do. They don't like being told what to do. And they definitely don't like when someone tries to control them. Because again, this type is meant to just inform, act, move on it. So if anyone's trying to control their actions or make sure that they approve before they move, they're not going to be happy about it. Now, when they're in alignment with their type, then they're in flow. This type really likes to be in flow. They like to move. They like to let people know what's happening. And that's when they operate best. And it's funny because a lot of manifestors feel like they've been told that they're not consistent, that their energy isn't consistent, but they actually are cyclical. It just doesn't look consistent to other types. Okay. Next type that we have is the generator. So this is what most people are. I think it's like 37% of the population are generators. Now, a generator is consistent, is sustainable. They have renewable sacral energy. Generators are the life force of the planet. So they have consistent daily energy. They are meant to use that energy each day, fully use their energy, and then also fully rest. They can sleep when they've spent all their energy. Now, their strategy is wait to respond. So for this type, they actually want life to bring forward things, bring forward opportunities, and then they check in with their gut response before moving. So if you ever have someone who feels like they always have kind of like a gut response, or they really feel in tune with their gut, they might be a generator. So it's not that they have to wait to have a gut reaction, but life will present things, present opportunities, and then they have a gut reaction and they can respond. So something here, the sacral response, they can actually have kind of like a verbal or bodily reaction. So they will actually have that physical feeling in their gut, but a good tool to use too, and I do this with generators, is you can ask them a question and they can either say uh-huh or uh-uh. And that kind of helps them identify what that gut feeling is. So you can have kind of a verbal response that ties into the gut feeling. Now, their not self theme is frustration. So if you are a generator and you've been feeling very frustrated, that means we are living out of alignment with our design. Now, when they're in alignment, they will feel satisfaction. They will have opportunities. They will have deep, full body yeses. And the more that they can have those, the more they can have those deep, yeses, the more and more they'll be in alignment. But if they aren't listening to their gut, that frustration is going to show up. Okay, the next type that we have is manifesting generators. So this is the second most common type. It makes up 33% of the population. So these are a hybrid, right, of the manifestor and the generator. So what they have is the generator's sacral energy. So they still have that consistent daily energy, but they also have the manifestor's speed. These are people who are multi-passionate, they're fast, they're efficient, and they have energy, consistent energy. So they're like generators, but a little bit faster, a little bit jumpier. They can speed up, they can circle back, they can arrive ahead of everyone else. They're kind of moving very quickly. Their strategy is wait to respond and then inform. So again, a combination here of the manifestor and the generator. And this type is actually designed to try things to know if they're right for them or not. They're still going to have that gut response, but you can actually try the thing first. So instead of a generator where something is, proposed to you or appears in your life and you can have a gut response, a manifesting generator can actually try the thing and then decide if it feels right or not. So this type is not so linear. They do feel like a little bit more scattered, but it works for their energy type. Now, their not self theme is a combination of manifestors and generators, which is frustration and anger. So if they're not listening to their gut, but also with this type, if they're not moving quickly and trying things and learning from it, that is where they're feeling frustrated and angry. But when they're in alignment, they have satisfaction and speed. So they're in flow, right? But they also have momentum. Okay. Next type is projector, and I am a projector. A projector is about 20% of the population. So projectors are meant to guide, direct, manage, and see specifically like what the deeper thing going on is, right? They can see through it all and connect it, but they really are the guides. Typically, this type will have like a very penetrating, focused aura, which I may or may not have been told that I have. But they are people who can really read systems, read people, and they can see dynamics a lot faster than other people. Their energy is non-sacral. So this type specifically has focused bursts of energy, focused, concentrated bursts of energy. And they are not meant for marathon output. So this type is very different than a generator or a manifesting generator, or even a manifestor. But like I said in the beginning, our society is really built around this kind of like generator energy. And to be a projector, like I am, we are not meant for that. We're not built for that. We can work though in alignment with our type and still have success and abundance and all of these things, but we don't do it in the way that a generator would. So if you're a projector and you feel like you can't keep up, it's also possible that you do feel lazy compared to other people. And it's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't have enough energy. It's just that your energy works differently. A projector is meant to have short, concentrated, focused times to work instead of, 9 to 5, work all day intensely or just work all day. It is very important for a projector to rest. Projectors require more rest than any other type. So you want to be like in bed before you're even tired. I'm somebody who loves laying down. I don't feel guilty about it. You need time to decompress, and you need significant alone time to recharge. I think this is so important for projectors to remember. We need alone time, completely alone. Okay. Now, the strategy for a projector is wait for the invitation, which I have absolutely struggled with, again, because that is not how I was raised. That is not the environment I grew up in, especially when it came to my career. It was always like, make yourself available, make sure people know who you are, go out there and get the opportunity. But that does not work for a projector. That is not in alignment with their energy type. This type has to actually have a clear, direct invitation. Crazy, I know. And this gets a little bit nuanced because it's not like, oh, we're not just sitting around and waiting in our room forever to magically get a call. But we do need a clear invitation instead of forcing ourselves into a situation. So what this can actually look like for a projector is what I'm doing right now, right? It's building the knowledge, it's going deep, it's getting clear about what you want. And then you can, like for this, I'm posting a podcast, right? So it's not that I'm sitting in my room waiting for a client to call me, but I'm putting myself out there. If they see this, they can invite me in as their coach. So again, you can present yourself, but you cannot force yourself into any situation or opportunity because it won't feel good. If you're a projector, think about a time where you did try to force something, or you tried to tell someone how you feel, or you tried to give someone your deep, knowledgeable insight and they didn't react well to it. Yeah, it's because you actually needed to be invited first. That person needed to go, hey, Chelsea, or whatever your name is, I'd really like your opinion on this thing. I really need your help here. If there isn't that invitation, then we're going to see more of that not self theme. Now, for a projector, the not self theme is bitterness. Isn't that such a great word? I feel like I don't love the word bitter, but God, have I been bitter? I absolutely have been bitter in my life. And it always was when I was not in alignment with my design. So that bitterness is showing up when we are pushing without the invitation. We are giving our gifts. Like, projectors are so guilty of this. It's because we think we always know the answer, right? And we probably do. But people don't want to hear it unless they ask for it. Now, when we're in alignment, when we are waiting for the invitation and then offering our deep insight, we feel deeply seen and we feel recognized. Recognition is the main self theme. And it's so funny. I spent years in a specific situation where I felt like I wasn't recognized. I didn't get enough recognition. And I even asked for recognition. It's like the exact opposite of what a projector should be doing. And it's because I wasn't waiting for the invitation. I was forcing things. Instead, if you allow yourself to have those opportunities show up where you are invited in and then you share your knowledge, then you're recognized. Okay, the last type that we have is the reflector. Only 1% of the population are reflectors. So a reflector has a completely open chart, meaning this type is designed to mirror the world around them. These people are highly fluid. So if you're a reflector, it might feel like you are genuinely a different person depending on who you're with. And that is because you're so open and you're mirroring what you're around. It's very common for a reflector to feel like they don't really have a sense of self. But the thing here is they're actually designed to sample experience, if that makes sense. So it's nothing to be fixed, and it's not that you don't have your own self, but you are a mirror and you are reflecting the environment around you. Now, this strategy is so interesting, but they are actually meant to wait a lunar cycle. So it's very specific, but usually 28 days, right? Before you make a major decision. So if something presents itself, an opportunity presents itself, you're actually meant to wait a full 28 days before making that decision. Now, since you are a mirror and you're reflecting your environment around you, it's very important that you make sure that you're in healthy environments. So like your environments and your relationships and the people that you surround yourself with, you need to be very particular in how you curate those, because what they're experiencing, you're also going to experience. So, people, there's always the phrase, like wherever you go, there you are. That's not true for reflectors. Wherever you go, you're that. So that's the phrase for a reflector. Their not self theme is disappointment. So if you're feeling disappointed as a reflector, that is a sign that you are not in the right environment and you're not surrounded by the right people. Now, when you're in alignment, you should feel wonder and delight. You can feel very in tune with your environment and the people around you. Again, it's important to be selective in where you're placing yourself and who you're surrounding yourself with. Just to cover again, sacral versus non-sacral. So for the generators and the manifesting generators, those are sacral types. So those are the types where they do have daily consistent energy. Those types typically are designed to work daily, work all day, and then go to bed spent. Like that is what makes them feel satisfied. The non-sacral types, which are the manifestor, the projector, and the reflector, are the ones that need to work in focused bursts. So they are not meant to work all day. They need significant rest, like significant rest. And it's really important that they stop before they're depleted. Because this type is especially, I would say, especially prone to burnout. And again, we live in a sacral world, right? We live in the 9 to 5 hustle culture. And that's something that can really work for a generator or a manifesting generator. It does not work for the other types. So it's also getting like a little bit clear about your type. If you are non-sacral, it's also identifying a certain career path or a certain way to work in the career that you're in. And this doesn't apply to just career, but we often think about it that way. So you want really a life that is designed for your design. And that's what I help my clients with. I think the strategy is really interesting, which is different for each type. And I think that it can often feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you haven't been doing it that way. What I will say, though, is if you haven't been living in alignment with your strategy, you're probably feeling your not self theme. So what I would recommend is trying your strategy for 30 days, right? So if you can make a commitment, if you're a projector, for 30 days, just wait for the invitation and then see how you feel. If you are a generator, for 30 days, listen to your gut and make decisions fully based on that gut response. See how you feel. So you don't have to believe in it. Just experiment with it and see what happens. I also love that we have like the not self theme and then also the emotions that we feel when we are in alignment, because we all have emotions, right? We're all angry. We're all frustrated at times. We're all bitter sometimes. But it's when those emotions consistently show up over and over again, that is how you know that you are not living in alignment with your design. If you are always angry, if you are always frustrated and it's showing up again and again and again, it's because we are not listening to our strategy. It's because we're not using our energy in a way that matches our design. I can almost guarantee that if you start to realize, okay, based on my design, this is how it's best to use my energy. And based on my strategy, this is how I should make moves. Once you start paying attention to that and living in alignment with that, that is when you're going to feel the emotions, the positive, wonderful emotions of living in alignment, right? So when you're feeling recognized as a projector, when you are feeling peaceful as a manifestor, when you are feeling satisfied as a generator, and then we're comboing those for manifesting generator, you're at peace and satisfied. And when you have wonder and delight as a reflector, these are all signs that we're living in alignment with our design. So if this is your first time learning about human design and figuring out what your human design is, I would love for you to comment and let me know what you learned and how you feel about it. I think it can be so interesting to discover it for the first time. When I did, it was kind of like a revelation where it's like, oh, I don't have to hustle all day long. I can actually be really successful and abundant in this specific way that works with my energy. And again, I always tell clients this too. This is just one system, one tool. You do not have to like fully subscribe and listen to every single thing about human design. I always say that when it comes to any, like even when I'm making a blueprint that has human design, Enneagram, astrology, personality type, Myers-Briggs, none of those things define you. We are all each our own human. But I think it's interesting to learn about and use these tools, because even if it just helps you identify what areas of your life aren't working for you and which ones are, and then we can pursue and cultivate the ones that feel good and eliminate the ones that don't. All of this is eventually what's going to get us to a place where we are living in alignment. So comment, tell me your type, tell me how you feel about it. And if you're interested in an alignment blueprint, you can always book a consult with me for free on my website, cozywithchelsea.com. And when you book a package, I give you that custom blueprint. So it's pretty great, in my opinion. Okay, what is making me cozy this week? So I am preparing for a trip to the woods and a lake, and I'm going to be in a cabin. So I'm very excited for that. I really, really, really need some rest and time in nature, and I have a few things I'm thinking through. So having some space and some trees and some lovely weather and maybe getting on a boat, it's gonna be great. I'm excited. I can't wait. So just remember, it's okay to live in alignment in a way that works for you, and it doesn't have to be a way that works for somebody else. I hope you all have a cozy week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.